Shalom from Israel. I'm Ariel Ben Abraham. This week we're going to reflect on Psalm 59 by King David. It's basically essentially a continuation of the previous one. In other words, it's the same line of thought. So we begin with verse 1. Deliver me from my enemies, O God. Protect me from those who rise against me. Deliver me from doers of iniquity, and save me from men of violence, bloodshed. See how they lie in waiting for me. Angry men conspire against me. For no transgression of sin of my own, O Lord, for no fault of my own. They move swiftly to attack me. Arise to help me, and take notice. O Lord of multitudes, the God of Israel, rise up to punish all the nations. Show no compassion for the wicked traitors. Again, there's a twofold understanding of this psalm in regards to wicked people, enemies, corrupt judges, as we mentioned in the previous one, 58. Again, we have to understand objectively and in some way subjectively what are enemies. We indeed have physical, real, present enemies. Enemies of flesh and bones. It's like real people who want to look for our destruction. And at the same time, as we have mentioned this many times, by the way. We mentioned that last week. The enemies that we have within our consciousness. You can call it in many ways. Envy, coveting, anger, haughtiness, lust, indifference, indolence. So, among others. So those are enemies. We mentioned in one of our commentaries in the Torah, the Jewish Bible, that the 7 Canaanite nations that God commanded the children of Israel to conquer in order to occupy the land of Canaan, where we are now, they represent 7 negative traits and tendencies or trends in consciousness. The one that we mentioned already. So in other words, it's not just the people who are there, the physical people that we fight with gangs in wars, because they represent actually these tendencies in our consciousness. So we have to have this inner fight. And once we win that fight in the inner level, then we'll be able to win the wars with the outer enemies. It'll be like this. The people will leave. All the enemies will leave our midst. So I'm not like these people. Go. And then they go to the lands. Same thing happened with our immediate surroundings. When we fight this, they don't come. And if they come, we face them. We don't appease them. We don't make peace with them. we remove them from our midst. Like having a bad neighbor, next door neighbor, make too much noise, always slamming the doors or cursing. It's like, we don't want this. So we confront the neighbor. Now, sometimes the neighbor will say, I don't care about your opinion. I will be yelling. I will be doing whatever I want. This is my house. And if you are my neighbor, it's your problem. Move out. That's a possible scenario. So if the situation is that bad, then we have to move out. Or we have to put an extra wall so we don't hear. It's going to be quiet in here. There's no noise here because our walls are very strong. So they don't come into our house, our dwelling. Now, it would be interesting and it would be nice if the person would say, you're right, I'm disrupting the peace. I try not to be a rude person or whatever. That would be nice, but it not always happen that way. It doesn't happen that way most of the times. But again, we try. Now, if we live in a community in which we have common values, it doesn't happen. Because people are sharing a community in which they share the same approach to life. We're respectful of people, we don't make noise after certain hours, etc. We don't intrude, trespass, nothing like this. So this is like a common, with these close neighborhoods that we have now with security, they share the same values. So they live all in peace, they like each other, even if they don't talk to each other, they live in peace. That's the idea. So this has to reflect our own inner approach to life. It's like, what are my neighbors in my consciousness? How loud they are. How loud are my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings, my beliefs, my ideas, my thoughts. And then we work on that. So we remove them, then we live in the Holy Land. It's holy. What do you mean it's holy? Sacred. Because there is no evil here. There's nothing negative. So that's the idea. So David is asking, just protect me from this. So I have my own war, my own inner war. I have my outer world, war. He said that the Jewish history, the Jewish tradition, make a difference between David and Solomon, King David and King Solomon. So David was the warrior. It's one of the reasons why he didn't build the temple. See, he wanted to. Actually, he financed, he get the money for it, he bought the land for it. When he was ready to put the first stone, Nathan, the prophet, told him, you know what? You're not allowed to build this. See, why not? I have lived all my life with this dream, with this purpose, with this objective, with this goal. Is to build a house for my God. So it will be dwelling with us, you know. And Nathan told him, so you can't. So why not? Because your hands are stained by blood. You are a warrior. You kill people. You know, people kill you. I mean, you know, you are in constant war. So it's something that was bad for him because he had to war. Israel enemies. So he was doing the right thing. Actually, God was helping him to achieve this. But God said, I don't want people, Hashem, God, to relate to me in terms of war. Now, we have different verses in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible. This is God is a God of war, especially related in the Exodus from Egypt. We call him a master of war. Now, but this is a different war. This is the war for redemption. So it's not a war that is just killing people. It's like, in this case, these people wanted, the Egyptians wanted to kill the people of Israel. He had to stop this. He chose these people, he protected them. So this is what happened. And again, it's contextual. So this is a war in order to redeem. So we have to do that, by the way. We have to war our enemies in order to redeem ourselves. We have to war every negative aspect of consciousness, every tendency, trait, quality. So we'll be redeeming goodness. It's like, now we're good, 100%. There's no trace of evil in us. That's a war. So that's the context. It's like, the house of God is a house of peace. That's why Solomon, which means he whose peace belongs. In other words, his peace is his. That's the name of Solomon, Shlomo. So like he owns his peace. The peace is his. It's part of him. That's the way he is. And then he built a temple. And his king is his kingship, the time that he was king. He didn't have any wars with anybody. All the people from other countries, all the kings came to him to look for his advice and wisdom. Because he was a king of peace. Basically, that's the same conception that we have of the Jewish king Messiah. It's a king of peace. In other words, when we come, no conflicts. We'll come, we remove evil, and then everything will be exactly like in the time of Solomon. Everything will be just fine. Everybody's in harmony. The nations come to visit. No problem. We help them. We share with them our peace, our happiness, our closeness to God, our knowledge of God. And everything will be happy. Everybody will be happy at the end. So, in this case, King David is asking God to just help me defeat my enemies. Now, he says, I have committed no transgression, I have not committed no sin. So, and I have done anything wrong, and then they come to me. Now, this is interesting because last week we have been studying the Midrash. It's in regards of the situation of Joseph, the son of Jacob, in Egypt when he was seduced by the wife of his master, Potiphar. So there's a dialogue between two rabbis regarding this episode. And he said, evil goes after the wicked. In other words, it finds satisfaction on the wicked. And it doesn't find satisfaction in the righteous. In other words, evil doesn't touch the righteous, it touches the evil. And then the other rabbi said the opposite. Evil finds satisfaction in bothering the righteous and doesn't touch the evil. In other words, the evil is already evil. What's the point of bringing more evil to evil? Doesn't make sense. In his view. So in other words, Evil with, and again, they're seeing evil as a negative entity. I mean, as an entity. It's like something that is behind people. Like a spirit going, now I'm gonna get in there. Because it's bothering him, this guy, I don't like him. And again, the other rabbi said, no. Evil goes against the people who are weak. In other words, this rabbi associates weakness, being weak, a weak person, with being prone, having the tendency to do evil. So in other words, when we, God forbid, we're in a situation where we feel the tendency to do something bad, something evil, then evil prey on us. You want to do evil? I help you. That's the approach of the first rabbi. But again, our approach, we said it in the previous commentary of Psalm 58, we have to understand evil as choice. Good and evil choices by which we live. So in other words, we see evil here, it's a reference for me to take goodness. That's the idea. Okay, so we're talking about here, these men are coming against me. I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything wrong, and they want to do evil to me. In other words, King David here is basically being an example of the second opinion. It's like, I'm righteous, evil come to me. Evil people come to me to do me harm. But again, the context of the conversation between these two rabbis is how we do react to that. In other words, the commentary was to say, so evil goes, after wicked people, after righteous people. What is the idea behind? In other words, are we strong enough to be righteous, to do the right choice, to use proper judgment? That's the question here. Otherwise, we are not, then we will make wrong choices. We will choose evil, basically. We will become wicked by, giving a bad judgment, etc. On the other hand, it's like, if I'm righteous, why evil is going to affect me? No, because eventually there's something that makes you weak, there's a point of weakness in every righteous person. We don't believe this. That's an opinion. We're not saying that the rabbi is wrong. It's an opinion. But again, we have to understand, if people are righteous and they're strong, goodness makes them strong, not weak. In the same way that evil makes people weak because evil controls them. They cannot make choices. They cannot tell between good and evil, so they're weak. But they don't have enough strength to tell between one thing and the other. That's a weak person. Like an ignorant person is weak. Why? Because he doesn't know. That doesn't make it a bad person. He's ignorant. So the tendency to do wrong is bigger if he would be wise. So the same applies here. It's like, if a righteous person is a wise person, because righteousness is actually about intellect, about understanding, about knowing, why would evil have to? Why would I have to engage in a negative situation if I know 100% that evil is out of my midst? I don't even deal with it. Well, that's the idea. But again, here David is saying, I'm a righteous person, but you see, they come to me. It's like a magnet. I attract evil people, so why this is happening to me? So he asks God, a higher power, to intercede for him as he did he asked in the previous psalm. For no fault on my own, no mistake on my own, no failure on my own, they move swiftly to attack me. Arise to help me and take notice. O Lord, Lord of hosts, God of Israel, rise up to punish all the nations. Show no compassion to the wicked traitors. In other words, remove evil. Same thing from the previous psalm. Remove evil from human consciousness. They return in the evening. Evening here in this case is darkness. In other words, when we don't have things clear, we don't have clarity of mind, thought, then of course, then we have the tendency, because we don't have information, we don't have the light, the enlightenment, the understanding, the knowledge. Those are synonyms, by the way. Light is an abstraction of goodness. So Jesus is the light, is clarity. Saw the light. So what is right? What is proper? What is just? What is fair? What is positive? What is constructive? What is healing? That's the thing. They return in the evening, snarling like dogs, and prowling around the city. See that they spew from their mouths sharp words from the lips, for who can hear us? In other words, we're alone in this. We depend on you. You have to help us. It's the only way. But you, Lord, you laugh at them. You scoff all the nations. Again, nations here, as we mentioned before, are negative traits and trends in consciousness. Those are the nations. The negative tendencies to do things. To do negative things. I will keep watch for you. Oh, my strength. In other words, God is my strength. And again, as we said in the previous commentary, God is goodness. Like I can hold on you, goodness. If I hold on goodness, why evil is going to come? If evil is around me, my approach is positive. Why would I have something evil to come to me if everything is clear in my mind that it's about goodness? Goodness is my choice. Why evil would be around? So in this case, he's relating God to goodness and holding, because that's his strength. All my strength. For you, God, are my fortress. My God of love and devotion will come to meet me. God will let me stare down my foes, my enemies. In other words, once we apply goodness in our approach, discernment, thoughts, mind, emotions, feelings, speech and action, goodness has to come to me, to us. So we plant in a good soil, we're going to get a good fruit. Why would it be the opposite? So, do not kill them, or my people will forget. Scatter them by your power. In other words, he's not asking a complete wipe out, he's disperse them. Now, what is dispersion? Because at some point it's like, just take them away from my midst. In other words, disperse them out of my midst. Dispersion, at some point in Judaism, is understood as, for example, the blessing that Jacob gave to two of his sons, Levi and Shimon. So I will scatter you among the people, that's Shimon. And I will disperse you among your brothers, like among your people. It's the same, basically. It's dispersing and scattering. So in other words, they're going to be around everybody to do something. So the oral tradition said that the descendants of Shimon are teachers, like regular teachers, school teachers, geography, mathematics, science, intelligent people to teach other people the basic stuff of life. And the Levites are the spiritual teachers. That's why the job is in the Temple of Jerusalem. They're close to God. God is the portion. They don't have a portion in the land, because the portion is God. They are the spiritual teachers. So the scattering and dispersion is in some way a redeeming quality. So when he says disperse them, it could be understood in this context. In other words, don't put them together. In other words, if you put evil together, they're gonna do disaster. They're gonna make chaos. So you disperse them. So they could be among goodness, and they eventually would redeem themselves. That's the idea. So don't kill them. So give them a chance. Put them in an environment in which they're the minority. They're scattered. Meaning that they have to, in order to be mainstream, so to speak, go into the majority, they have to change. So this is what he's asking here. He's a wise, compassionate man. Now, this is his opinion. We have other opinions. You have to remove them completely. Yeah. So we may allow goodness to rule. So there's no interference here. No, it's a little evil. It's a minority. No. We don't need that. We have been struggling for millenniums against evil. And again, evil, the evil mind, the evil consciousness, the evil emotions, the evil feelings, the evil beliefs, those are the ones. That's evil. Again, we don't believe in this, at least this servant of yours. We don't believe it's an entity that's going howling, in the night and scaring people. It's something that is in our consciousness as a reference to choose goodness. That's the idea. So scatter them by your power and bring them down. That down is humble them. Make them finally get the point that goodness is the whole point of life. By the transgression of the mouths, bad speech, evil speech, and the words of the lips, let them be trapped in their arrogance, in the curses and lies they speak. Consume them in wrath. Wrath usually is fire. It's the same root, like when a people is like it's getting hot. No, he's getting angry, it's like getting fired up. The idea of the fire is to destroy something, either for good or bad. So we have to be careful. Well, we get really hot, like in fire, angry, like really, really fired up. We have to be careful. We can even burn ourselves and burn others and bruise them. So we have to be careful about this. But at the same time, we have to see it in the other way. I have this anger, I have this fire up in order to remove with this fire everything that is not relevant, something that is unnecessary, something that we don't need. It's what it is. So, consume them until there are no more, there is no more evil, so it may be known in the corners of the earth that God rules over Jacob. Jacob in this case is Israel. Israel and Jacob and the Jews in general. In Judaism, to make clear, is the representation of goodness. We are the good people. We are chosen because we are chosen to do good, to be good to the nations. And that's what Jews have been doing throughout history. We are not conquering any country, we are not going against killing people or anything like this, Just giving. You know this, by the way. For the 100% philanthropy in the world, more than 50% are Jewish, probably over more than that. This is a natural thing. So that's the idea. Medicine, technology, agriculture, energy, this is the goodness Israel gives to the nations. And in previous times, the Torah, ethics, morality. That's the idea. They return in the evening. Again, they go to darkness, snarling like dogs and prowling around the city. They scavenge for food. They growl if they are not satisfied. But I will sing of your strength and proclaim your loving devotion in the morning, for you are my fortress, my refuge in times of trouble. To you, all my strength, I sing praises. For you, O God, are my fortress, my God of loving devotion. In other words, David is saying, I embrace you. You are my fortress, you are my strength. To say a fortress is like, oh, David God is a building, it's a wall, it's a shield. Those are allegories of goodness. So what protects us from evil? Goodness. What protects us from our enemies or destruction? Goodness. In other words, the evil, they're the one what were good. So we take refuge in the source of goodness. That's the fortress, the fountain, the source. And then we are redeemed. But again, we have to understand that this is a dynamic process. It's not, okay, we ask God, help us. Remove our enemies. Wicked people, evil people, destructive people. But then we have to do the same. We have to do our part. That's why we have an army, by the way. Well, God helps us. Indeed, He does. But the moment that we lower the guard and we are completely helpless, evil people come like wolves to eat us alive. That's what happened in the Holocaust. The moment we drop the ball or blink, that's it. So the lesson is we have an army. What's a warrior? A mighty warrior, David. But the enemies were bad people. They were evil people. They really were bad. They still are. Evil hasn't changed a bit ever since. You may say that it gets worse. Of course, if you use technology and all the viruses and all the bad things, the biological weapons, whatever, yeah. But the attitude is the same. The approach is the same. The choice is the same. And the lesson is choose goodness and ignore evil. Dismiss it. And if it's around coming in our midst, we face it and we destroy it. That's the idea. Unless, like the nations, most of the nations do, they want to coexist with evil. They're different and they're evil, they're some kind of violent people, but we're gonna let them hang and us, with us, we have laws, they will abide, with us, fulfilling the law. It doesn't work that way. In some cases, they change or they adapt, but in others we see clearly that they fight in order to impose their evil on others. So we have to care for that. Okay, with this we finish our commentary on Psalm 59.